I do, Buckaroos, and how the heck are you? I've got some J.J. Neukomm whiskey from Square One or Spirits of St. Louis. You read just a little bit from their website because the lettering on the bottle is way too small for my old eyes. A full flavor single malt American whiskey made with 25% cherrywood smoked malt, aged in Missouri oak barrels. Now, I had this for the first time back in 2013. They've since changed their labels and their bottles, and the label doesn't mention the cherrywood smoked malt. But the aromas are reminiscent of what I remember, so I feel like there is some smoked malt. And you can also see a little bit of that pigment. Gives it kind of a little bit of a pink pigment there. Anyways, it's gorgeous. I mean, the nose is incredible. You can feel some smoke malt, so I'm guessing it's still, even though the label doesn't reflect it, it is on their website. You're gonna pick up some of that oak, typical aromas and flavors you get from oak. You might get some vanilla, but here I'm also picking up some dark fruit notes on the nose. That's nice. Oh yeah, that's what Daddy like. I've got an ounce and a half exactly in here neat using my Jameson glass. How do you know it's an ounce and a half, Tom? Because it says so. Right. I like this one because it says ounce and a half right to that line. Uh, anyways, excuse me. I digress. Oh, mercy. Yeah, I picked this up back in 2013 when we were in St. Louis. I haven't bought it since then. But it has been one that I've wanted to revisit. I sense that there's a whiskey out of Little Rock. Rocktown is a distiller. They do a hickory smoke whiskey that is just amazing, man. I just love the hell out of it. Of course, Scotch uses peat smoke malt, but I got to tell you, I mean, I prefer this cherrywood or that Rocktown, that hickory. For me, I like the flavors better and the aromas. I find them more pleasing. But the pretentious whiskey drinkers will still still defend Scotch no matter what, no matter how good American craft whiskey has become, because it's become awesome. Those folks over there still got their nose up in here. That's okay. We'll just make better stuff, just like we did with beer. We'll just keep making better stuff. You don't have to admit it's better, but we all know you think it is. Anyway, J.J. Neukomm. So it's a little bit sweet initially, almost. Hold on, I'm gonna take another drink and I'll tell you. I was gonna say brown sugar, but it's not quite brown sugar. It's more of a. Excuse me, my nose is driving me crazy. It's more like a raw sugar sweetness. Not like refined sugar, more like raw sugar if you had the raw sugar early on. Mixes with a little vanilla. You sort of feel the oak near the end. That light smoke kind of permeates all the way through the drink, though. It doesn't overtake anything, but you feel that it's there all the way through. And I was mentioning some dark fruit notes on the nose. I'll put a finer point on it. It's almost like more of like a candy date kind of aroma. Dries up very nice. And again, there's the oak. You feel the oak right at the very end. It's where that oak really comes through. It's very nice, man. I like it. So cheers and happy holidays to you. Well, if I don't say Merry Christmas, some militant Christians are going to get their panties in the wall. So I'll say Merry Christmas. I encompass happy holidays because we're going to talk about Thanksgiving and Christmas. And heck, I don't know if I guess, I may have some Jewish friends out there. Hanukkah, heck, I don't know. There may be some folks celebrating Festivus. Anyway, I don't know why anybody gets upset because somebody says something else. I mean, we're all different, man. Oh yeah, that's nice. I've been to the distillery once, a brewery distillery once. I'd like to go back because it was back in 2013, and I was going through a lot at the time, so I didn't really enjoy it as much as I would have liked to. But I would like to go back. It was a nice place, Square One Brewery, where they do the beers. They don't package the beers though. I'm kind of surprised. They package the whiskeys. I wish they'd package the beers because it's been a few years since I had the beers, but I just remember them being just fantastic. Mm, biscuits, that's good. JJ Neukomm. I don't know if this will let me, if I can get my eyes to adjust to read any of this bottle or not. We have created a whiskey like no other, and we want you to love it as much as we do. We started with a grain bill that crafts unique, smoky, nutty, and caramel flavors with a hint of sweetness that mellows in our new Missouri oak barrels. It's not unusual for Missouri white oak, especially, to give you spice notes, and you do feel it in this whiskey. In particular, you typically get a lot of cinnamon. I've had somewhere that really brings out a lot of cinnamon. Here I am feeling some cinnamon, but I'm almost also feeling some allspice like notes as well. We would like to thank all the whiskey enthusiasts and mixologists that have picked up a bottle of J.J. Neukomm single malt whiskey. Yeah, it's kind of odd that they don't mention the cherrywood smoked malt here. I mean, like I said, they do mention it on the website, but not on the bottle. It just says single malt whiskey. J.J. Neukomm single malt whiskey, Missouri single malt whiskey, distilled and bottled by Square One Brewery and Distillery, St. Louis, Missouri. It's 90 proof. How about that? Flip that around so you can see it again. It's very nice whiskey. It's a good bang for your buck. I mean, everybody's tastes are different, and some people are, once they start drinking one particular type of whiskey, whether it be Irish or Scotch or bourbon, they rarely go to anything else. But I gotta tell you, man, if this isn't a whiskey or a whiskey style that you've had before, you really need to try it. It really is that good. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer today. Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guy. Have a good one. Cheers, how you do, Buckaroos? I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer at this particular moment. J.J. Neukomm single malt whiskey from the good folks at Square One Distillery. Brewery and Distillery in St. Louis, Missouri. They call their spirits in St. Louis, but it says on the bottle Square One. So Square One does these. I don't know why. The liquor name is different, but hey, who am I to judge? A full flavored single malt American whiskey made with 25% cherrywood aged smoke malt in Missouri oak barrels. I don't know why they don't mention that. They've got the label change on their website. They said when I first had this several years ago, the bottle and the label were different. But they have the new label listed on their website, Cherry Wood Smoked Malt, but nowhere on the label here does it say Cherry Wood Smoked Malt. I kind of wonder about that. It does, by the aromas and the flavors, I'm still guessing it's using the Cherry Wood Smoked Malt, or at least it was by the time of this particular batch, but I do find it curious that it's not on the label. Anyways, I just had some neat. In fact, that was the second drink I'd had out of it. I had a drink when I first got it. Tried to do a video. For some reason, the video didn't come through, so had it again. But I didn't have it on the rocks at the time. So I thought, well, I'm going to try some on the rocks. I had such a hard time getting my camera going. I thought, well, since now it is working at this particular moment, I'd go ahead and just do another one just to see what this does on the rocks. For this particular whiskey, in all honesty, in fact, I haven't had it on the rocks yet, but I wouldn't do anything else but neat and rocks with this. This isn't a whiskey that I'd highball or cocktail. Oh, you might. I wouldn't go old fashioned with it. Let me say that. I might go Manhattan with it if you're feeling kind of adventurous, but because that cherry wood smoke malt might be nice in Manhattan. But I mean, I wouldn't water it down with 100 other things. So in many cases, when you add ice, you get just a little bit of that water. You might bring out a little bit more, some aromas, some flavors. You get too much water, you kill it completely. But I've also noticed you add a little bit of ice, you start to get just that slightest meltage going on. That it actually brings out the sugars both on the nose and on the aroma, on the nose and on the flavor. And I can tell that instantly on the aroma that changed from neat was I'm getting more sweetness on the nose than I was getting before. And I'm getting some of that cherry wood smoked malt. I'm getting some vanilla, but I was also picking up some dark fruit on the nose when I had it neat, which is lost on it on the rocks. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, I was getting the hint of sweetness early on when I had it neat, and I described it as kind of a raw sugar like sweetness. Didn't feel like brown sugar. Didn't feel like honey. Had that kind of raw sugar kind of feel to it. But here, I'm gonna take another drink and I'll describe it. Here it's a more intense sweetness, but oddly enough, the oakiness, is that a word? I'm just going to make up a word for you. The oakiness, yeah, the actually, I mean, the oak is really brought to life more early on. I think if I let this get too watery, I'm going to lose that completely too. But at the moment, that oak is more at the forefront, whereas when I had it neat, I just felt it right at the end as it closed everything down. But here I'm really feeling just that big Missouri oak. And I'm also feeling the spices that Missouri white oak has to offer. Um, some cinnamon. I'm also feeling allspice from this, but you will get cinnamon in particular. But I'm also feeling allspice for some reason. Maybe it's just me, man. But that's what I'm getting. But that's what's tricky about rocks is that if I've got an ounce and a half neat, I can just relax and drink it over about 30 to 45 minutes. It's not going to change. If I put some on the rocks, I really want to drink it quicker. Uh, you get to that sweet spot, I like to call it. I mean, after a few minutes, you get that right amount of water, and then it gets that appropriate amount of coldness, the right amount of water, and certain flavors will pop up and be more pronounced that weren't available neat. But then, if you wait too long, all the flavors get lost. You get too much water, and you ruin it completely. So it's kind of a sweet spot, and it changes with every whiskey. I personally like these square cubes. Mm. Good golly, that's nice. Yes, even in those couple of minutes that I've been talking to you, it's changed a lot. The sweetness, where it was very sweet initially with a big oak, that's changed. It's not quite as sweet as it once was. I'm feeling more of the vanilla now. I'm feeling some nuttiness that they describe, almost a walnut-like notes. More of a pungent black walnut than an English walnut. How about that? Put a finer point on. I hate when I get pretentious. Sometimes you just have to say stuff. Oh wow. But yeah, see here I'm kind of at that spot. I fear I'm afeared. I fear if I let much more water melt in this, I'm going to lose the flavors completely. So I'm going to take her down. We're going down, baby. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer. Oh mercy. Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom and all around. Good guy. Hope the holidays are treating y'all well. Whatever you celebrate, we do Christmas here, but you do something else, hey, I don't care. I'm not a militant Christian. Y'all have a good one.